All right, everyone, this time Trump is done for, and all of his fans think he's terrible, and they're fleeing, and they're all going to become Democrats and stuff. He's done for this time. His career is officially ended. It's over for forever. I've heard this dozens of times during the primaries, during Trump's presidency. Certainly in the last year you've heard he's going to get put in jail, he's going to get nailed on for tax fraud, or he's going to get nailed for prostitution, or, some sort of bad business deal, ma Russia, ma China, ma Ukraine, blah, 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 blah. Trump is done for. He gives an interview with Candace Owens the other day, and now there's a totally not Astroturfed attempt to demoralize his fans. Here's what I think is happening. And I realize not everyone who says, well, I'm pissed off at Trump for what he said there, I wouldn't support him. No, I'm not saying that they're all shills or anything. I'm just saying that there are shills encouraging that kind of response. Donald Trump fast-tracked the Moderna and Pfizer and I think Johnson & Johnson vaccines that were deployed. That was last year. It wasn't the Biden vaccine. It was Trump's vaccine initially. Everyone knows this. He has repeatedly stated the vaccines are fine, you should get vaccinated. If you have a comorbidity, you should get the booster. I got the vaccine, I got the booster. Trump has said all these things now for more than a year. Suddenly, he goes on an interview with Candace Owens and says, yeah, the vaccine's safe and I got my booster shot and shit. All of a sudden, from out of every legacy media network, from virtually all of the left-wing pundits and wonks, with apparently pre-written and almost quasi-plagiaristic blog posts and tweets as well, all of a sudden, all of these people come out to state unequivocally, well, I guess Trump's done for this time. I hear that his fans are really, really mad and they're all stopping their support of him. What's about to happen in the next couple of weeks involving Donald Trump that they would want to demoralize as many people ahead of as possible? Oh, that's right, the launch of Truth Social, the return of Donald Trump to social media. This is an astroturfing attempt by these individuals. The number of people that are going to be pissed off about Trump taking credit for something he's already taken credit for dozens of times before is very, very infinitesimally small. If you are an anti-vaxxer, and I don't mean like me, I'm against the vax mandate, I'm not vaccinated. That's not being an anti-vaxxer. I mean if you are flat out, you think the vaccine is a bad thing, whether it's one or all of them. You think that it's medically unhealthy or whatever. If you believe that, you already don't support Trump, probably. you probably can't find a politician you do support. Even Massey, he might be a little bit too far out for you. So why would this magically happen? Why would there be droves of Trump fans turning on Orange Man? Trump's fans are angry. It's almost like a self-written sort of thing, like they're trying to will it into existence by saying it's so. Well, that's funny. I see some people that are bothered, but I don't see anyone that's inordinately angry that I can't vouch for already having gotten off the Trump train a year ago. I can't find him. Trump has never been in favor of a vax mandate. He's never been in favor of medical tyranny. He's simply saying that the vaccine is safe. Well, it's been deployed to literally hundreds of millions of people. The problem starts when you begin mandating that people that aren't really at risk for COVID get it, especially when you now have a strain that's less deadly. That's a problem. Trump is a 74-year-old man. He's in the age range where and he's a little bit on the tubby side as well, although he has lost quite a bit of weight, you may have noticed. He's not looking bad for his age. He apparently lays off the Big Macs now more. And he's tubby. He's in his mid-70s. If he gets COVID, he's got like a 15% chance of dying. Maybe not with Omicron, but if he gets one of the other variants. For him, having comorbidities, it makes sense to get vaccinated. You can't argue that there's a 15% chance that you have complications from Moderna or Pfizer. It's not in the numbers. There are complications for some people, but it's not 15%. You've got to weigh risk versus reward when you make medical or any other decision. Everyone does this on a daily basis, mostly subconsciously. They don't even understand that they're doing this. For me, if I get a vaccine, there's a possibility that I have a complication, maybe I have Bell's palsy or something. If I don't get vaccinated, the chances of me dying of COVID, though, are very, very small. It's less than 0.1%. I have no comorbidities. Trump has 2 of them. So therein lies the big difference. If Trump comes out and says, well, I got my booster, yeah, it's safe and effective, you should think about getting it, I don't care. I don't care how many times he encourages people to be vaxxed. It doesn't matter. He's not trying to force anyone to be vaxxed. He's not telling him, feel bad if you're not vaccinated, you're killing grandma. He's just saying that it's safe and effective and you can get it. I have no problem with that, whether it's a politician or someone like Trump who's former politician saying it. The idea that it would even, and by the way it's covered especially by MSNBC like Joy Reid and some of these others also bears mentioning. Supposedly this shows that Trump is subjugated. He's impotent. He bows before the hand of the deep state because he is saying exactly what our own networks say on a regular basis, except that we promote it being mandatory. Somehow that makes him weak. If he's so impotent, and if he's now doomed because everyone's fleeing off the Trump train and he's got no chance, and by the way, don't join Truth Social. Don't join Rumble when he gets aboard fully on there. Definitely don't consider donating to his near inevitable re-election fund because Orange Man Bad. This is just a variant of Orange Man Bad, by the way. It's just a really, really shrewd one that's very, very underhanded and slimy. I would use the term sleazy, but doesn't measure up to Sleazy Pete Martini's shenanigans. If he's so impotent and doomed, why even report on this? It's because he's not. They're afraid of the dude. They are I'm telling you, they are genuinely still very afraid that Donald Trump will run again and win. When you've got more than 50% of all the people in the party wanting you to run again, and you would have a significant proportion of the rest that would hold their nose anyway and get behind you, when you have 85% in-party approval, the writing's on the wall. I think unless Trump has a health issue, or possibly if Biden does, or if the Dems manage to scrape the bottom of the barrel, they find that one diamond in the rough that's actually capable of running a campaign. Right now, their default is Pete Buttigieg, because Biden's clearly not going to be physically fit. Based on his response to the NORAD Let's Go Brandon prank call, his non-response, he's already beginning to get more out to lunch on a regular basis. It's becoming more and more evident. If anyone in the last few days has had a gaffe that is going to challenge their fans to find a reason to continue to support, that's Joe Biden. This is wagon circling for the Biden administration to try to shift onto Trump. It's an attempt to create a self-fulfilling sort of piece of news where you're attempting to make the news rather than just report it by proposing that Donald Trump is now doomed and impotent and his fans are fleeing. But that's not really happening. A small number of people will get really pissed at this and say, I'm never supporting Trump. A lot of these people have had Trump derangement syndrome for months or years now. They mentioned, Cernovich actually mentioned this too, Snowden, Trump calling him a spy. While I disagree with this completely, I would have pardoned Snowden. I was upset that Snowden, Assange, and others weren't pardoned by Trump. This was one of the failures of his presidency. In his 11th hour, he could have done that. I think he was worried he might actually get prosecuted by the government if he does. I think he was worried that it would be used as propaganda should he seek re-election, which he will. In a second term, when he doesn't have to worry about re-election, you might very well see the pardoning of these individuals. Just to be clear, that could actually happen. Maybe they actually let that tiger dude out. Although didn't it turn out that the dude that he claimed killed her husband actually just went to the tropics and basically disappeared? Which shows you what a character she is. Her husband couldn't stand her so much that he left behind his whole existence just to go and live on a desert island and drink tequila. Of course, it's winter, so a lot of you probably are like, oh, that sounds pretty good, actually. Maybe I'll think about that. Here's the thing. When we look at the situation, that is basically the same as the idea that Orange Man bad because he's saying that vaccines are safe. Oh, no, he didn't pardon Snowden. He called him a spy. He's already done that. Again, a year later after his legitimate presidency ends and the honk-honk presidency begins, all of a sudden, now he's done for because he didn't want to pardon Snowden. He had called him a spy several times prior and signaled that he probably wouldn't be pardoning him. So this is an astroturfing attempt. It's an attempt to take the Candace Owens interview, take a few clips from it, and widely disseminate them instantaneously. This is like when they banned Alex Jones off of all social media. It was virtually instantaneous. And this points to the fact that there was collusion between multiple groups to do that, to attack him and keep him from fighting back by making him effectively silent on mainline platforms. This is an attempt by the legacy media and the craptivists to convince Trump fans that he's now done for, because they're looking at the GOP field and the Dem field, trust me, with demented Biden, and they see problems ahead in 2024, especially since they're probably going to be prefaced on a midterms in which most of the Trump-backed candidates win, kicking out some more of the rhino cons. Trump, by the way, in a second term, if you think the first one he was independent, he'd be completely unbridled. He wouldn't give a shit anymore, and he wouldn't be impeached because he'll have a virtually all-Republican House probably that he's dealing with. It'd be hilarious now, wouldn't it? So, yeah, I don't know that he'll run again. And of course, there could be other people running that you think, well, Rand Paul is doing a good job and he's, upstanding. And by the way, I hope he ends up president someday. Or DeSantis potentially. You could see others run. It's not even sure that Trump will be alive during the next election. He could croak tomorrow. He has a stroke or something. He ends up literally knocked out, literally disabled or something. That hasn't happened yet, though. And I know some people say, well, there's sticks shilling for the dead movement that is MAGA again. The one-trick pony, the stale sticks, and, all of these other platitudes that they heap on me. What I'm telling you is, as mainly someone who analyzes politics, I still like Trump, but that doesn't even figure into whether he runs or not. I believe it's likely based on all available evidence, and I see no available evidence that shows me that that's not going to happen and he's going to collapse right before Truth Social comes out, a total goddamn coincidence because of an Astroturfed attack by the legacy media. None of these clowns liked him anyway. They fucking hate Trump. Of course they're going to do this. Which shows you a person that's been effectively silenced on all mainline social media and is embattled by multiple lawsuits, and who supposedly lost by in a historic landslide to a demented dude approaching 80 years old. They're still afraid of him. Why would they treat him this way? Ask yourself, why would the entire, we know to be corrupt, the entire establishment complex, corporations, legacy media, banks, political wonks, and so forth, all be attacking the same person, even though they haven't been in office and they haven't said anything publicly off of Fox News in almost a year now? It's because of fear. There's no other logical explanation. They're terrified of the dude. That's about all. Peace out.